Gardeners know that good soil isn't bought, it's built, and one of the easiest ways to build it is by using what you already have, your kitchen scraps. Every peel, core, shell, and leftover bit of plant matter is raw material your garden is hungry for. The problem is that many gardeners overthink composting. They imagine huge bins, thermometers, or complicated ratios, but the truth is that composting kitchen scraps can be incredibly simple, fast, and low maintenance. Today, we're diving into 7 easy, practical methods you can start using immediately to turn your kitchen waste into rich soil food right inside your garden, where it belongs. Burying scraps directly into the soil is the most foolproof method for beginners. This is often called trench composting, and it's exactly as straightforward as it sounds. You dig a narrow trench or a series of small holes between plants, drop in your chopped kitchen scraps, and cover them with 4 to 6 inches of soil. Microbes, worms, and soil-dwelling organisms handle the rest. Because the scraps are fully buried, there's no smell, no pest problem, and no need to turn anything. The trick is to bury them where roots can eventually reach, but not right up against existing plants. If you're preparing for the next planting season, this method becomes even easier because you can dig deeper trenches, 8 to 12 inches, across future beds and load them heavily with chopped scraps. Over the winter or a few weeks of warm weather, the soil transforms itself with zero effort on your part. Creating a simple in-ground compost tube is perfect for gardeners who want constant food for worms. This method uses a basic perforated tube made from PVC or recycled buckets with holes drilled around the sides. Bury the tube in your garden bed with several inches of the top sticking out. Drop kitchen scraps into the tube as needed, remembering to layer occasionally with a bit of leaves or shredded paper. Worms enter from below through the holes, feed on the material, and carry nutrients directly into the surrounding soil. The tube becomes a permanent compost column that continuously fertilizes the garden around it. Many gardeners place one tube every 2 to 3 feet in a raised bed, and the improvement in worm activity is undeniable. Mulching scraps under a carbon layer is an ideal method when you don't want to dig. If you're practicing no-till gardening, this method blends perfectly into your routine. Spread your kitchen scraps directly on top of the soil, but always make sure they're chopped small. Then cover them with at least 2 inches of carbon-rich material like shredded leaves, straw, or dry grass. The carbon cap stops odors and blocks pests. Over time, the organic matter heats gently under the mulch and begins to disappear into the soil. Earthworms pull soft material downward, and fungi begin breaking apart tougher pieces. You can maintain this cycle all year, topping up your carbon layer as needed. If your climate is warm, scraps can vanish in as little as 5 days under a thick mulch. Blender composting is a favorite method for gardeners who want ultra-fast results. By blending your kitchen scraps with water until you create a slurry, you accelerate decomposition dramatically. This slurry can be poured into planting holes, trench lines, or directly under mulch. Because the particles are tiny, microbes colonize them almost immediately. This is especially useful for gardeners working with heavy clay because the slurry improves infiltration and root penetration. A practical ratio is 1 cup of scraps blended with 1 to 2 cups of water. If the mix is too thick, just add a bit more water. Once poured into the soil and covered, the material disappears in days, not weeks. Making a small, in-bed compost pit works perfectly in annual vegetable gardens. This is a seasonal method that combines the simplicity of trench composting with the efficiency of a controlled compost pocket. Choose a small section of the garden bed, around 1 foot square, and dig a shallow pit about 10 inches deep. Dump in your kitchen scraps as you collect them, cover lightly with soil or mulch, and continue adding until the pit is full. Then seal it with soil and move your pit to a new location next time. Over a growing season, you will have rotated multiple nutrient pockets through your garden, enriching sections of the soil step by step. Gardeners using this method often notice that plants grown in the previous year's compost pit locations grow faster and produce heavily. Using kitchen scraps to brew a quick compost tea is perfect for feeding plants directly. This method is less about reducing scraps and more about extracting nutrients quickly. Place chopped vegetable scraps, banana peels, coffee grounds, or eggshells into a bucket and cover them with water. Let the mixture sit for 24 to 48 hours, stir occasionally to encourage fermentation. Then strain and dilute the resulting liquid at a ratio of 1 part tea to 4 parts water. Pour this around the base of your plants. The nutrients are immediately available, and any leftover solids can be buried or added to another composting method. The easiest method of all is simply feeding your scraps to a worm-rich garden bed. Many no-dig gardeners naturally create worm beds by adding constant layers of mulch. If your soil is already full of worms, you can simply lift the mulch, lay in your chopped kitchen scraps, and replace the mulch. The scraps become a buffet for the worms, and the soil directly below becomes darker, looser, and more fertile each month. This method works especially well when you alternate layers of nitrogen-rich scraps with carbon materials like shredded cardboard or dried leaves. Over time, you build a living compost system directly inside your beds without ever maintaining a separate worm bin. These 7 methods prove one thing: composting doesn't need to be complicated, and every kitchen scrap has value. Whether you choose to bury, mulch, blend, brew, or ferment your scraps, your soil will reward you with better structure, richer microbial activity, and stronger, healthier plants. If you found this guide helpful, make sure to subscribe and share it with other gardeners who want to turn everyday kitchen waste into powerful soil-building magic.